Good afternoon. This is just Bob Bowman, and I'm coming with another live stream. In this particular live stream, I don't want to come at anybody in a disrespectful way, but I have an honest question. And this question is in regards to the recent article in Psychology Today, which talked about the rise of single, lonely men and their need to have more emotional expression in order to overcome the shortcomings that they have in order to have a decent relationship. My question is, what do you expect for these men to do, especially if these men are working on themselves? What if these men are doing their jobs or their businesses to the best of their ability? They're managing their money very well. They go to the gym, they work out, they get their hygiene and their clothes game in order. They work on their communication skills. They keep close friend and family bonds. These people treat others with respect, do what's right in the community, and they're still treated like third class citizens. They are still looked upon as food dates for women that they might be interested in, and are usually expected to take the worst of the worst when it comes to the dating market because they somehow don't meet the certain criteria and standards of the overall group within that community. What do you expect for these men to do? Do you expect for them to just take what it is that they're given, even though they know that in their minds they deserve to have something more than that? And this isn't to downgrade anybody, but humans are humans. And as a human being, I have a right to have my preferences and standards, just like any other human being have their rights to have preferences and standards. Now, if we were shown that we didn't fit the bill in the community that we live in, we didn't cut the mustard in certain circumstances, why is it wrong for these men to go outside of that community to find out what it is outside of it, travel it? They don't need to actually get a passport, but they can travel different places within the country as well. Hell, like what's wrong with getting a passport and traveling outside the country and going different places to find what it is that they truly want? What do you expect for these men to do? Do you expect for us to just give up and submit to the will of the people within the community that do not respect or like these men or want these men around, that look at these men as paychecks, that look at these men to be a supplement for their income? And I understand that there are a lot of women overseas that look at the men the same way. And you try to bash these men that go over there and partake in that lifestyle overseas when they're getting a higher quality of woman for a more reasonable price. Now, I'm not talking about tricking or anything like that, but I'm talking about going out with somebody, doing things for them. It doesn't cost as much as it would here. And we know this now. But I understand that it's a lot of women here, and I'm not putting any blame on them, but it's a lot of women here that have high expectations as well. And the men that they don't want, after they have their fun with the men that they do want that really don't want them, they expect for these men that they don't want to deal with the consequences of their choices, which is them having a lot of emotional baggage, them having attitude problems, them wanting to be passed around over and over, even while in a relationship, or they have multiple children with different men, but they expect these men, these leftover men in their eyes, these dusty beta males in their eyes, even if these men have some resources on their own, they still expect for these men to rescue them from their situation after they made so many mistakes in their life. And they have no way to overcome those mistakes that they made. Now, I'm not saying that men are perfect. A lot of men, including myself, made a lot of mistakes in life. We didn't make the right choices. We were chasing vagina. We were thinking with our penises instead of our minds. And we put ourselves in bad situations a lot of times. That's true. But what about the men that finally woke up and saw what they were doing that were detrimental to them, as well as what they were taught growing up as being detrimental to them as well, and that made choices and decisions to alter their lives so they can live a better, more efficient life? Do you still expect for these men who have worked so hard to overcome their situations and their circumstances to just settle, just put up with the mess that's going on here, to just allow themselves to be insulted, to be degraded, to be emasculated, to be treated as less than? That's the question that I have for you. Because instead of coming with viable solutions, there's a lot of shaming tactics that's being used. There's a lot of people that want to put other men down for coming up with a solution that fits best for them. There's a lot of people that want to down talk men for going outside and traveling because like these men understand that the women that are supposed to be theirs, so called, don't want them. The only reason why they would want them is to help them out in a bad situation that they put themselves in. Is that fair to those men? And I understand that life isn't fair. It isn't fair for anybody. But do you think that men who understand that life isn't fair should just give up having a decent life to make somebody else's life better? Because that's what it is that's being interpreted as when certain topics come up that speak negatively about men that get their passports to go find love elsewhere. Now, you want to talk about tricking and everything, going out on these dates where the women are just using the men for their time, their energy, their money, and attention with no intent on reciprocating any of that. Isn't that tricking? Because that man is getting tricked. That woman is pretending to like him in order to go on a nice date and to feel validated just so she can take a poop on him at the end of that date. Like, how is that not tricking? Men that get their passports to go overseas can easily trick over here in the States. But you have to ask yourself, what is going on that the men would rather not spend their money here in the States and would rather go overseas to these other women? What is so bad about these women that men are starting to do that? Are you willing to ask those type of questions, those logical questions that need to be asked and answered? What is it that these women can do to improve themselves, to get the men that are trying to improve their lives. Now, I'm not talking about the man that's not doing anything to improve their life, the ones that's just being slothful and lazy, not working, being shiftless. But I'm talking about the men that's actually putting in effort to gain more knowledge, putting in effort to become more physically fit, that's putting in effort to eat better, to think better, to live better, putting in effort to manage their money, their finances better. The men that's going into their jobs or their businesses and doing it to the best of their abilities so they can keep that money flowing and actually trying to come up with new ways to gain extra revenue. But instead of asking these questions, the shaming tactics keep coming up. And what I'm realizing is that this whole situation may never come to a head. It may never come to an end because everybody has their own opinions about how it is that they feel about a situation, and others have it where they feel about another situation. Now, these hardworking men that's doing all this stuff and they're not seeing any improvements socially, you think they should just give up and just be a beta male provider to a woman that they actually don't like, or have to take care of some children they didn't help create in this life? Because we know that in the Black community, over 50% of the men have no children. I'm one of them. I have no children. I have a job. I'm working. I'm taking care of my responsibilities. Now, I will admit that I made a lot of bad decisions prior to getting to this point to where I'm at right now, but I have made efforts in order to overcome those bad decisions. And I know that it would be very hypocritical if I was to try to get a woman that didn't make bad choices in her own life. But at the same time, you expect us to pull from even a worse category than that. The women that either don't know or they don't care that they made a lot of bad choices and refuse to change anything about themselves, but still expect a man who is working hard to overcome his bad situation, that is making some progress in it, to allow himself to be pulled down into her mess. So I ask, what is the solution that you have in order to overcome this passport bro situation? Because if in your mind you think that we should just take the bad deal and deal with it, it's not going to happen. No amount of shaming will allow that to happen, because we seeing that the men just don't care anymore. I don't care anymore. I've done a lot to care about the community, to show that I care, and I was given a swift kick in the behind for that. So with that being said, I ask again, what is the solution that you have? I'm not coming up on any panels that's going to be disrespectful to me, so I'm asking for Peso Man to respond to this video. He can come out with a video, he can name me personally and answer the question that I just asked. What is the solution? What is the solution that you have? And I mean a realistic solution, not something that you think is best for everybody, even though those people already said that's not going to happen. So taking a bad deal isn't going to happen. So besides us taking the bad deal, what is the solution that you have for us? Same thing with my brother DS1 Ross, who I have a lot of respect for. And that's the reason why I made this video, because I know he's on in agreement with Peso Man, and hey, he has the right to think how he wants to, and I'm challenging him to come up with a viable solution, not one that favors the hypergamous situation that we live in this society, but one that is logical, that these men that I described would actually get on board with. Because other than that, it's just a bunch of hot air that's being passed around between us passport bros and the ones that's against the passport bros. I mean, it is what it is. Like, I know that life is a bunch of risks. I understand that. That's the reason why I don't take too much offense to everything that's going on. But I do get pissed off every once in a while. And I had this on my mind because I'm like, I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to do. I'm working on myself. And yet I'm still treated as the enemy. It makes no sense to me. And I want it to make better sense to me, which is why I'm asking a question such as this. Because this solution, which I don't call the only solution, is just a solution for men to get their passports and go elsewhere, is to help alleviate the problem that these men have. Like, I don't want to see a lot of men that's out here that's frustrated, either socially or sexually or anything of that nature. But even if it's not perfect, they have at least something that keeps them going. They have something that gives them motivation. They have something that will help them get through the rough days and the rough times and the rough moments of their life. Because we see an uptick in violence in the urban community. We see an uptick of baby mama drama in the community. We even see the celebrities going through it. And we understand that it's not just a money issue, it's an overall societal issue that's taking place, and it's being put smack in our face. And we know that having a passport isn't the end all that be all. But we are trying to come up with something that fits us the best, because what has been displayed and offered to us, it just hasn't been working. And we have to be honest with that. We have to be honest that it hasn't been working, and we need a better solution for other people. It can't just be one solution, it got to be alternative solutions. And that's what I talk about, and that's what I'm bringing to the table, is an alternate to what is being offered here in the States, because men are just not putting up with it anymore. Like, we're not. I remember growing up, and I was always being peer pressured to take the bullet. And you know what the bullet is. I'm at the age where I'm tired of taking a bullet. And I understand if women look at me as a bullet, so be it. I'm a bullet. Hey, let me take my bullet and shoot it in a different direction than in yours. That's how I'm thinking about this. That's how I really truly think about it. I'm asking an honest question. I really want to know a solution to the issue. I'm going to take some time out from doing these live streams and these videos, because I got a lot of other things that I'm working on. But I'm thankful to even be able to do these videos. And I understand that there's going to be individuals that don't like what I have to say. And I'm coming here And I'm using a calm voice just to show that I'm not upset or I'm not angry. I am pissed off a little bit because I'm sick and tired of hearing the same rhetoric over and over again when there is no real solutions that's being offered. It is what it is. The women, they've made their choice. And I understand that in the society that we live in, that the sexual choice of the woman is supposed to take precedence over the man's, and that the men are expected to take whatever is given to them. But like I said, we're getting to the point to where we understand that we're supposed to be living in an equal society and we're supposed to have equal rights. So with equal society and equal rights, we should be able to equally do what it is that we want without the harsh criticism and the insults and the negative judgments that comes along with it. Now, I understand there's nothing that I can do about it. You want to shame and you want to blame us and you want to explain how it is that we're wrong for thinking the way that we think, even though it's the most logical thing for us to think in our situations personally, even though you might have a different outcome from what it is that you're doing. Everything doesn't work the same for everybody. And that's what I've been pushing out here. I haven't been pushing like, oh, this is the solution to your problems. I'm not doing that. I'm just giving another alternative because just like there are people out here that live alternative lifestyles as far as who their sexual partners are going to be, there are men that need to live alternative lifestyles on who they want to deal with as far as relationships and whether or not they want to deal with the women in their community if they don't think that they mesh well with the women in their community. And even after trying for a long time, they need to come up with a solution for that. um, I don't want to see men losing their minds. I want to see men thriving. And men, we do need women just like women need men. And so I'm not going to say, oh, just cut it off and don't do anything, because some people are on that, and that's cool for them if they feel as though that's their best solution. But for me, I still want to interact with women every once in a while. And I might not get a chance to interact with them all the time, but once I get a chance to, I'm going to take it any way that I can, and it's going to be the type of woman that I would want to interact with, not who everybody else think I should interact with. And so if that means that I got to travel abroad, if I have to figure out a way to find a woman that fits me personally, I'm going to do that. But like I was saying, I'm honestly asking a question of what is it that you want us to do? What is the solution that you're trying to give us? Because we are working on ourselves, we are improving ourselves, and yet and still the community doesn't accept it. Well, I've been talking for the past 24 minutes going on about this. I thank everybody that has taken the time to listen to me. Um, I'm not coming in a place of anger. I'm not coming in a place of judgment. I'm just trying to come up with a solution to the issue that's at hand because it needs to be resolved. This back and forth, it isn't healthy for anybody. It isn't helping anybody. It isn't healing anybody. All it's doing is causing more chaos, more strife, more division. And us men, we need to learn how to be unified in a way, even if we don't agree with everything that other people are saying. Now, it's okay to disagree with somebody, but then when you're coming with insults, uh, peer pressure, down talk, isolation, ostracism, gaslighting. You're using all those tactics to get men who you consider weaker to do it what it is that you want them to do. All it is you're making the situation worse. And I'm asking an honest question in order to come up with a peaceful solution for everything. But anyway, this is just Bob Bowman. Have a wonderful day. Do the best that you can. Be the best version of yourself that you can be.